you are getting the voice from, let me check it out, which is the mic. Yeah, okay, there is. Okay, so the first thing that we will hear is about it will be about, okay, hello, yeah. This article, several things that we want to look into the article that we will see. So keep the article handy, and I will give on the board a roadmap of what is this article going on, and in between I will keep on asking you that what do you mean by this point, or what is the trajectory of that thought which Martin Esslin is talking here, so that we will very quickly have a look at it. Okay. I hope it is flipped properly. Okay.
Yes, sir. It is flipped and we can see it clearly.
Yeah, okay. Let me just, this is the yesterday's work. Yeah. So in this article today, the points that we want to see, what we will very quickly write here, and then we will discuss, will be about weighting, the thematic concern, the weight, which is very important. Yesterday we ended our discussion with these characters, and along with the characters, we have seen that Godot is very important character, though it is invisible character. The character never appears on the stage, but it is a titular character. And you can also see very curiously that this titular character never appears in the play. Normally, titular characters are the center of all the events. But in this play, the titular character is not appearing. So Martin Esslin tries to question this idea that can we see waiting as something more important than Godot? Can we see waiting as something more important? But waiting is the word which leads towards thematic concern. And Godot takes towards character study and thematic concern there. Now, when we will try to see waiting as central theme, or this, how still the idea of Godot will keep on intercepting in between, how this idea of Godot still keep on intercepting in between, because this wait for what, the answer is Godot. The wait ultimately is for Godot, and if God is hidden in Godot, then it becomes the wait for God. It becomes the wait for God. And then the question also, like, why do we wait for God? Why we wait for God? So that also becomes very significant to be answered here. Let me. So these all concerns which we have to answer, and this article tries to look at those things in different ways. So okay, waiting for Godot and the search for the self. Okay. And here, thematically, we want to see the word waiting. How do we see the word waiting here? And from waiting, as we will read, because there are lots of interesting debate and discourse around waiting, philosophical discourse on the idea of wait. But from wait, we move towards what we call it hope. From hope, we move towards what we call it as home. These are all points which are discussed in this article. And when we see hope and home idea, what actually we are trying to do, as many interpretations are there which say that this actually is a Christian play. It is a Christian play. So the very basic message of Christianity is at the center of this idea of hope and home. That is also the interpretations people have done. But when we look at the idea of this as a Christian play, what we also have to see is that how this character God is being seen in this Godot, how it is. And what we see here is that it seems that this is very much unreliable. So as we said earlier, that from theme we enter again into Godot. From the title we go from Godot to theme, from theme to again the character. And then when we study this character, we find that the way Godot appears in the play, he seems to be very much unreliable. Now, when this becomes unreliable, you again start thinking of suicide as a better alternative than hope. You start looking at suicide as an alternative to this, which is again conflicting ideas with Christian play, and this also we start looking at this. So that is one idea that it goes into because of the unreliability of this character. The better alternative some people have seen in the play is the idea of suicide here. But apart from that, from here, when we look at again to this idea, many interpretations have seen that this hope for salvation turns into habit of hoping. Habit of hoping. And so there is this point on habit. There is a little bit of a paragraph on habit, that what is this habit, and then when we become a part of a habit, how it is very difficult to escape from these things also there. So this is how this play is being interpreted in this article, and this is the trajectory of moving and various way it goes. And in the final part, we see that apart from all these things also, this play has possibilities of innumerable interpretations. Innumerable interpretations is possible. That is the last paragraph of this. And then there is a conclusion about this necessity and absurdity. Necessity and absurdity. That is how this article ends or concludes there. So now what I want to ask you is that what is this waiting? How do you see this idea of waiting? And what is discussed when we think waiting as the central theme of the play? Yes? Who will start? Yesterday I told you that there are these page numbers from 31. You can read this. Yes, anybody? You can read a couple of lines also. The lines which you found very attractive, that you can read in this if you want to talk about the idea of waiting.
Sir, may I try?
Yes. Yeah.
Here the theme of waiting is associated with time, and there is a mentioning in the one of the sentence that there is no escape from the hours and the days. So neither from tomorrow nor from yesterday, because yesterday was deformed. Yesterday has deformed us or been deformed by us. So the theme of waiting is associated with time. And
yes,
one of
that is a good point. Yeah, time. So waiting and time, they are connected. This, and there is very interesting point. It comes that moreover, it is the act of waiting that we experience. In the act of acting, what we experience ultimately is the flow of time. It is the flow of time that we experience there in its purest and most evident form. If we are active, we tend to forget the passage of time. We pass the time. But if we are merely passively waiting. If we are active in this, well, it is fine. The time will pass very significantly without any problem. We become unaware of the passing of time when we are active in this time. But if we are passive, then time is terrible also. Time becomes a kind of a punishment in this when we are passive. Now, see how philosophically you look at this very idea. For what are we waiting? While waiting, what are we doing? Whatever we do is passing time. Whatever we do, like we do MA, I teach, you learn, we play, we watch, we read, innumerable things, participating in this ceremonies, that ceremonies, anniversaries, birthdays, marriages. All those things are nothing but passing time. But we are active, so we enjoy doing that. We are active. But if we are not doing that, and if we are passive, then it becomes very, very terrible time in this context here. And this, when we face this, when we confront, when we confront the action of time, then it becomes very significant. And our confrontation of the time, now as an active member of what I'm dealing with the time, if I confront, then I don't see the anxieties of passing the time. But if I am confronting the time being a passive member, then it is terrible for me. That is terrible. Now for Vladimir and Estragon, they are confronting this passively, as if they are almost at the end of their life. They are at the end of their life. Now, perhaps they have nothing to do. They don't have any work also now. Now they just have to wait for death or Godot, so that the salvation mox can happen. That is how they are waiting there. So they are passive, and then they are trying to be active. Be active. So they say, let us do this, let us remember something, let us have you read this, question and answer, let us play some game, let some people come in our life, so that time becomes very significant. Let there be company of somebody, so that it can, but they are passively confronting. They are passively confronting the time, and so their anxiety is a terrible anxiety in that. We escape the passivity and we be active, and when we are active, we do not face this problem and this, and that's why our attempts are always to be active in something. Our attempts are always to be active. We always find something to do, because we can't live without doing. We can't face time without doing. That is why we are constantly searching for some work, something to do. And if there is nothing to do, then what? That very idea is a terrible idea. It is a very hallucinating idea, or it is very frightening from inside, and we don't know why we are afraid of, or for what we are afraid of. That feeling we face here. Sometimes it so happens that I don't know whether you have faced this or not, that suddenly you are all alone in the home. You are all alone. There is nobody. People have gone for some work or some other thing, and you are all alone, and you have nothing to do also. You have nothing to do also, all alone in the home and nothing to do. And suddenly you find the fright of being lonely in the home. Even if it is your own home, then also you will feel some kinds of fright in one or the another way. And you will try to escape from that feeling, that you will try to do. You will start TV on, you will peep into mobile phone, you will do this, you will call somebody, but something you will have to do. You can't stay, because staying all alone in that is terribly frightening, in this. I remember one story. There was one small short story about these children, and its story was set in a time where there were no televisions also. So in a home, if there are parents and the people, then children pass the time, they play another thing. But when parents go out for like vegetable purchase or provisional store or the thing, they ask the children, 2 or 3 children or one child in a home, and they lock from outside. When the parents in this condition, they go out, they lock from outside, and they say that, well, if somebody comes, you answer from a window. One window will be open, you can answer, but you stay inside only. Now this child or 2 children or a couple of them, when they are all alone, what will they do? They will imagine that some bawa has come outside to abduct children, so they will hide behind sofa. They will hide under table, under bed, but imaginary fear. And then they will, now even that is those children's attempts to pass time, that imaginary fright, because the real fright of being alone is more terrible than this imaginary fright. Also, you said that, well, somebody is knocking, and some people who want to abduct children might have come, so they'll start hiding, and as if they are playing with themselves. Even if there is one child, the child will play the game. This is where we try to be active in various ways, but passive is more terrible thing here. So there is this looking at time, that how time passes, and how confronting the passage of time is a terrible experience, that it tries to say. Okay, so that is what is discussed here. There is very interesting lines given. The flow of time confronts us with the basic problem of being, the problem of the nature of the self, which, being subject to constant change in time, is in constant flux and therefore ever outside our grasp. Personality, whose permanent reality can only be apprehended as a retrospective hypothesis. So this is how terrible it is to face time in this. Many of these meditative practices actually are making us face the time passively, making us so we become inner, we can say we achieve inner strength when we do this. We have inner strength because we are escaping from facing time by being active. We constantly escape facing this, and that is our escapism. Also, being active also is our escapism. That's why meditation practices are do nothing, just sit and just think and just face the time. And very terrible things are there, as we referred earlier to this Vipassana Sibir, where many people run away from these kinds of Mon Shibirs for 10 continuous days or 30 days, and people find it very terrible because you are passively just facing the time, and it is beyond imagination that people can experience that. Okay, so time flows through us. Yes, this all. Yes, anybody else? Now then, further than that, in the next paragraph, what important thing you are finding? In the next para, are you getting anything important?
Sir, in the above paragraph, the first paragraph, the last 4 lines, the individual is the seat of constant process of decantation. So it is it metaphorically explaining us that what you have just explained? That 4 lines is hard to grasp.
Yeah, okay. The individual is the seat of a constant process of decantation, sluggish, pale and monochrome, to the vessel containing the fluid of past time, agitated and multicolored by the phenomena of its hours. So metaphorically, it is seeing that what is our body, what is our mind, what are we actually, how that happens. So it is like we are eroded, constantly being eroded from within us when the time is passing through us. So that the phenomena of passage of time, what it actually does to this body, this vessel, this body as a kind of a vessel. And then when things keep on going, it keeps on constantly eroding. If you want to have another image rather than this, then you can see the image of the river eating the banks. Banks એટલે કાંઠાઓ. નદી કઈ રીતે એમના કાંઠાઓને ખાતી જાય, અથવા કોઈ પથ્થરોને હવા ખાઈ જાય. હવા પવન ની લહેરખીઓ કઈ રીતે એકદમ મજબૂત પથ્થરને ખાઈ જતી હોય. If you have visited Mount Girnar, you will find that there are huge holes. It's a huge what we call it this carbon pathar, huge, black, very strong. It is made up of lava. Once upon a time when the lava came out, and this is frozen lava. This entire mountain is a frozen lava. But then this very strong stone is being eroded. And what has eroded it? It is the wind. So sometimes we are surprised that can wind cut the stone? And then the river, the flow of a river keeps on eating the banks, keeps on eating, eroding the bank. That is how you can imagine. If this metaphor becomes very difficult to comprehend, then this metaphor of how wind erodes stones, or how water, flowing river erodes the banks. That is what happens to us, that the time is passing through us and we are constantly being eroded mentally, physically, also in that case. Yes, yeah. Then next paragraph. There is a word attainment. Yes, attainment. Attainment is word like moksha, nirvana, moving towards that. That is what it is given. So we are disappointed at the nullity of what we are pleased to call attainment. But what is attainment? The identification of the subject with the object of his desire. This is very interesting. So what we call moksha or nirvana, other things, what is exactly that? If you ask yourself that, well, let me ask you that, what do you mean by this very term of moksha or nirvana, or how do we see this very idea of the what actually is the meaning of that? Well, you may say that that is perhaps meeting of this Atma to Paramatma. That it is day of Qayamat. This is the day of judgment where our Atma will be selected, picked. And when that happens, it is attainment. When my Atma is being picked up, selected by God, by Paramatma, or when my Atma gets villain. I'm using different language. So some religion like Christianity or Islam thinks in a different way. Hinduism thinks in a different way. So how that all happened, that we say it is attainment. Ultimately, people will say that is the ultimate attainment of our soul, our body. Body remains down, the soul finds the attainment there. But see the another statement. It says that identification of the subject with the object of his desire is attainment. Now, if I ask myself that, am I really living a life so that my soul finds an attainment into Paramatma, or my soul is picked up by God or not? Well, I say, no, I am not living that life. I'm not doing anything for that. Then what is my object of desire? What is my object? What is this subject's object of desire? Now that all things, I would say it is the quest of a yogi. It is a quest of a sannyasi. It is a quest of a religious person. It is the quest of somebody who has left the samajik jivan. For them, it is this, that now they work day and night only for the soul. But are we working only for the soul or not? That question. So we may find that no, perhaps we are not working for the soul. Our object of desire is not that. It is something else. It is not that. So then what becomes is that whatever is our object of desire, that is our attainment. That is our attainment in this world. Now, if I say that my object of attainment is to do MA and then to do PhD and then to pass GPSC exam, and then to become a lecturer in college, or to become this or to become that, that is my object of desire, then maybe some people will say, no, these are not good objects of desire. The real objects of desire should always be that what you are doing for your Atma. That is more important than all these kinds of things. So people may advise. So if I want to impress people, then I may say that, well, I'm working for the purification of my soul. I'm working on my karma. I'm doing this for that. And when the day of judgment or Qayamat ka din, or when I face Paramatma, then I am pure and I'm working for that. Then people will be happy. That's very good, they would say. So it's those discourses that what we give value in life at different points also. But this simple sentence can be worked out in either of the way. Vladimir and Estragon, they may be perhaps working for some kinds of Monty or Tony or Godot or somebody. They might be working, and now they are waiting. That we were promised. We were promised that if you'll do this, I will come. I will come and do your salvation. I will come there to save you. I am your savior. I am your Masiha. I will come and save. So they might have lived that life and now they are waiting. Now they are waiting for that to happen. But that is not happening. That also is, that attainment also is not happening. What is perhaps the final we can say repentance, or final penance, or the final acts of reaching to that point that God may come, this may happen. What is that actually the final? Is it like you have to burn in fire? You have to burn in time, forget the fire, time is burning. So is it that necessary that I have to burn in time? Because passively passing time is burning in time, actively is avoiding those burns. So is it necessary that I have to do this? Is time itself that tel ki kadai, ubalte tel ki kadai, time, and then my atma has to undergo all those things? Because in this life I have always been active and I have not been, so my atma will have to do this. Or if in the living life I experience that, then I don't have to do those kinds of things then. See, the existential idea, the spiritual idea, they go parallel. They philosophically, they go very much parallel. But existential idea keeps on questioning to those things, that is that what is we are there here for? Is that what we have to do? If it is so, then why all the other things are? Why this material world is there? If that is what we have achieved. જો આપણે ખબર પડી ગઈ છે કે આપણે આના માટે જ છીએ, તો પછી આ બધું શું કામ ભણવાનું ને નોકરી ને એવું બધું રાખ્યું છે? Why we don't only do that only? એ જ ખાલી રાખીએ, આ બધું આપણે ઇરેઝ કરી નાખીએ. આ બધું શું કામ નોકરી જોઈએ? શું કામ પૈસા જોઈએ? આમાં તો પૈસાની કોઈ જરૂર નથી. સ્વર્ગમાં જવા માટે, પરમાત્માને મળવા માટે કોઈ ટિકિટ નથી, કોઈ પૈસા નથી, તો શું કામ પૈસા છે? Why don't we erase? Why don't we remove all these kinds of things, and we just right from the childhood we just do this only, so that the soul is more purified and then it goes. But we are not doing that. We are not doing that. That is the major concern that existentialists will ask. That then why this material world is so important for us? Why we give so value to all these things, things there. So what is attainment? Attainment, it is not achievement, it is attainment, and it is the object of desire for different people. Okay, yes. Yeah, any other things in that paragraph? Yes, anybody? Any point in that paragraph you would like to ask? Then there is this point of pretension. Yeah, pretension. Presume or pretension or pretend. Pretend this. So this dialogue that happens, that Vladimir is trying to impress the boy by telling that, remember that we are here. Remember that we are here. And he says this, and then he said, tell to Godot also that we are here. Tell to Godot that we are here. And then this also, then when Pozzo and Lucky, they come, there is this series of dialogue, page number 32. Vladimir says, yes, you do know them. You do know them. Tells to Estragon કે તું ઓળખે છે આને. એટલે આપણે બંને ઓળખીએ છીએ. Pozzo and Lucky કોણ છે? Estragon says, no, I don't know them. I've seen first time. Who are these people? Vladimir say, we know them. I tell you, you forget everything. You are forgetting, but no, we know this. Pause. Then to himself, unless they are not the same. Unless કે આપણે આને ઓળખીએ પણ એના એ જ છે કે બદલી ગયા છે. જો વ્યક્તિ બદલી જાય તો પછી આપણે કેમ ઓળખીએ? અને જેને ઓળખીએ છે એ છે કે નહીં? જેને ઓળખીએ છીએ આપણે એ છે કે નહીં એ પણ કેમ ખબર પડે? કે આપણે બહારથી માણસને ઓળખીએ છીએ કે આ માણસને હું ઓળખું છું, પણ અંદરથી તો માણસ બદલાતો જાય. બીજા દિવસે એટલે 10 વર્ષ પછી એ માણસ મળે આપણને ત્યારે મારા મનમાં તો જૂની મેમરી હોય, તો 10 વર્ષ ચાલ્યા ગયા છે, તો હું ઓળખું છું એ જ આ છે કે નહીં? So that also is the point, that people might have changed also in that. So this all maybe અંદરથી એના એ છે, બહારથી બદલાઈ ગયા છે. અંદરથી એના એ છે, બહારથી માણસ બદલાઈ ગયા હોય. તો this is what we call પુનર્જન્મ. પુનર્જન્મ કે we all know each other. આપણે ગયા જન્મમાં એકબીજાને ઓળખતા હતા, કંઈક લેણા દેવી બાકી રહી ગઈ હતી, જેમ કાર્મિક ફિલોસોફી સતત કહેતું રહે એ કે જ્યારે લેણા દેવી, this idea of something that remains to be paid to each other, then we come together in life. અને આપણે એ ચૂકવવું પડે, એકબીજાનું જે ચૂકવણું બાકી હોય એ ચૂકવણું પૂરું કરી અને પછી આપણે જુદા પડી શકીએ, નહીં તો ત્યાં સુધી જુદા પડી શકતા નથી. આ ફિલોસોફી એટલે વાણિયાની ફિલોસોફી હોય તેવું લાગે. વાણિયો લેણ દેણમાં બહુ સમજે, જ્યુઇશ લોકો, યહૂદીઓ લેણ દેણના લોકો હોય, આ ફિલોસોફી એમણે બનાવી હોય એવી લાગે કે બધું લેણ દેણનું છે, લે અને દે. this Dhruv Bhatt, this novel, this લે, it begins with that idea. નાનકડી છોકરી લે અને દે, અને એ ઘણું એક નાનકડો ડિસ્કોર્સ મૂકે છે કે આ લે અને દે એ બે વચ્ચે કેવું મોટું હોય છે કે દે અથવા લે, this how people do this. So but this idea કે પણ આવું આઈડિયા આપનાર કે એ પણ કેવા હિસાબો રાખતો હશે, આ હિસાબ કોણ રાખે? ઘણા લોકોને કોઈ હિસાબની પડી જ ન હોય, અને ઘણા લોકો બહુ હિસાબનો વિચાર, એમ થાય કે એના મનમાં આ વિચાર આવ્યો હશે કે આ બધાના હિસાબો હોય, કર્મોના હિસાબ હોય, એનો ચોપડો હોય, એમાં જમા ખાતું હોય, એમાં ઉધાર ખાતું હોય, વાણિયાઓ હોય, એકાઉન્ટન્ટ્સ હોય, સીએ કરનારા લોકો હોય, જ્યુઇશ યહૂદી લોકો હોય, એ લોકોએ કદાચ આ આધ્યાત્મિક ફિલોસોફી વિચારી હશે. બાકી આવું લેણ દેણનું ક્યાંથી આવે? ફ્રોમ વેર ઇટ કમ્સ ધેર. સો માણસ જ્યારે બહારથી બદલે, નવો જન્મ હોય, આપણે અંદરથી એકબીજાને ઓળખતા હોય પણ ખબર નથી, કારણ કે આપણું રેમ નબળું છે, એટલે આપણે બહુ ઊંડા જઈને યાદ નથી કરી શકતા ક્યાં મળેલા હતા, કઈ રીતે, પણ એમ લાગે કે ઓળખીતા છે, તો જ ભેગા થયા હશું ને. પણ બહારથી લોકો બદલાઈ ગયા છે. that point he says, unless they are not the same. Estragon, why didn't they recognize us then? જો આપણે એને ભૂલી ગયા હોય તો એ તો આપણને ઓળખતા હોવા જોઈએ, તો એ કેમ આપણને ન ઓળખી શક્યા? Why didn't they recognize us? Estragon is putting a very interesting question, very interesting argument. આ બંનેના જે વાર્તાલાપ છે વ્લાદિમીર એસ્ટ્રેગોનના, they are not like somebody who is a tramp. ટ્રેમ્પ હોય એવું નથી આ બંને, કારણ કે ટ્રેમ્પ આ રીતે પ્રશ્નો જવાબ આટલી ગહનતાથી સાદી, બહુ મોટી વાતને સાદી રીતે મૂકી શકે એવું ટ્રેમ્પનું કામ નહીં. That's why many people have question to Beckett also કે આ તમારા બંને પાત્રો, તમે એને ટ્રેમ્પ, રખડું બતાવ્યા છે, પણ લાગે તો એવું છે એની વાર્તાલાપ ઉપરથી કે આ બંનેએ તો ફિલોસોફીમાં પીએચડી કર્યું હશે. ફિલોસોફીમાં પીએચડી કર્યું હોય એટલી ગહનતા છે એની વાતો. Beckett's answer, very shocking answer. Beckett told that કદાચ એમને પીએચડી કર્યું પણ હોય, આપણને ક્યાં ખબર છે, કદાચ એ બંને પીએચડી પણ હોય. Now this is very shocking, કારણ કે આપણે પીએચડી કરતા હોય તો એમ થાય કે પીએચડી પછી જો આ રેગ્સની હાલતમાં ચિત્રે હાલ રહેવાનું હોય તો પીએચડી શું કામ કરવું, એ થાય. એટલે આખું એ પ્રશ્ન ઉભો થાય કે પીએચડી પણ આવા હોય, એ પણ આવા થઈ જાય, એ પણ આ રીતે જાતિ ઉંમરે આવીને ઉભા રહેશે. જાતિ ઉંમર તો ઠીક, પીએચડી કરતા કરતા આવું થઈ જાય ઘણી વખત, પીએચડી જ પૂરું ન થાય ને ચિત્રે હાલ થઈ જાય. સો this is this point કે એ હોય પણ પીએચડી, they may be scholars also, who knows? એ તો છે નહીં નાટકમાં કાંઈ, તો તમે કેમ કન્ક્લુડ કરો કે એ પીએચડી નથી? ઘણું બધું એના વિશે નથી, કદાચ એ હોય પણ. But this is very shocking that if they are as intellectual as PhD scholars, then it is alarming looking at their situation. આવી સ્થિતિ આની પણ થાય કે એ તો વધુ આઘાતજનક. એના કરતા એમ માનવું કે આ અભણ હશે, આ ગમાર હશે, આ ગુંડાઓ હશે, આ કોઈ મોન્ટીના ગેંગસ્ટર્સ હશે, એ માનવાથી આપણને એક રાહત થાય, આપણને રાહત થાય કે જો ભણ્યા હોત તો ભવિષ્ય સારું હોત. આ બંને ભણ્યા નથી એટલે એનું આ ભવિષ્ય ખરાબ છે, પણ ભણેલા ગણેલાનું પણ આવું હોય તો આવું હોય પણ છે. We can't say કે આવું નથી હોતું. So why didn't they recognize us then? This very interesting that Vladimir's answers, it is even we can say another hammer on the hammer. એના ઉપર હથોડા ઉપર બીજો હથોડા નો કા. And that it says that that means nothing. એ તારી લોજિક નો કોઈ અર્થ નથી, અર્થ તર્કહીન લોજિક છે આ, તર્કહીન તર્ક તે કર્યો છે. It means nothing. I too pretended not to recognize them. મેં પણ એને પ્રિટેન્શન કર્યું છે કે હું ઓળખતો નથી, એમ એમણે પણ કર્યું હોય. And then nobody ever recognizes us. They might also have pretended that they don't know us. I pretended, I recognized them, but I pretended as if I don't know them. They might also have done that. You have forgotten, I have remembered. વ્લાદિમીર મને યાદ છે, ઓળખીતા છે, પણ મેં નાટક કર્યું, મેં પ્રિટેન્શન કર્યું કે હું ઓળખતો નથી. કદાચ એમણે પણ એવું નાટક જ કર્યું હશે. તને તો કઈ યાદ રહેતું નથી. એસ્ટ્રેગોન, he tells to એસ્ટ્રેગોન. So this is this idea about pretensions that people do in different contexts, but we don't know whether we pretend consciously or unconsciously. આપણે દેખીતી રીતે કરતા હોય તો ખ્યાલ આવે કે ચલો મેં ડહોળ કર્યો છે, મેં નાટક કર્યું છે, પણ અજાણતા એવું હોય તો કેમ ખબર પડે આપણને પણ. Okay, yeah, then yes, what is there in the next paragraph? Waiting is to experience the action of time. Yes, this paragraph. Are you finding something interesting in that? And then there is a quote from Pozzo. Pozzo's quote, and that's a very important quote by Pozzo. Very important quote. And it is here that you will get something to write about your interpretation of the play Breath also. So you can still edit your blog, and you can put something from this quote, the meaning of this quote, which gets connected with the concept of the play Breath.
Sir, in that paragraph, this waiting is to experience the action of time. There is one important statement that a ceaseless activity of time is self-defeating, purposeless, and therefore null and void.
Yes.
So that is the terrible stability of the world.
Yes, yeah.
And then for each one who begins to weep, somewhere else another stops.
True, yeah.
Yes. So
એટલે કે the idea is કે સમુદ્રનું પાણી ક્યારેય વધતું કે ઘટતું હોતું નથી. જ્યારે એક જગ્યાએ પાણી ચાલ્યું જાય ત્યારે સામે કાંઠે પાણી ભરાઈ જાય, એટલે ત્યાં ભરતી આવે છે. અહીંયા ઓટ આવે તો ત્યાં ભરતી આવે છે. You know, the oceans are connected. સમુદ્રો બધા એકબીજા સાથે જોડાયેલા છે. એમાં ક્યાંય બોર્ડર નથી. સમુદ્ર બોર્ડરલેસ છે. They all are connected with each other. અને ભરતી અને ઓટ આપણને ખ્યાલ છે કે ચંદ્ર આધારે આવે. ચંદ્ર જે તરફ જાય તે તરફ સમુદ્રનું પાણી ગ્રેવિટેશનલ ફોર્સથી ખેંચાતું રહે. એટલે જેમ ચંદ્ર મૂવમેન્ટ કરે એમ ભરતી અને ઓટ સતત આવતી રહે છે. પાણી એટલું ને એટલું જ છે. ક્યારેક બહુ ઘસારો આવે કાંઠા ઉપર, એમ લાગે પાણી વધી ગયું છે. ના, પાણી વધ્યું નથી, ક્યાંક ઓછું થયું છે. સામે કાંઠે પાણી ઓછું થયું છે, આ બાજુ પાણી વધી ગયું છે. This ebb and flow, that is that metaphor of looking. એ અહીંયા કહે છે લોકોના આંસુઓ, કારણ કે આંસુઓ પણ ખારા હોય છે. દરિયાના પાણી જેવા એ પણ ખારા હોય, એટલે રૂપક જોડાઈ જાય છે. એ પણ ક્યારેય વધતા કે ઘટતા નથી. કોઈ જ્યારે રડવાનું બંધ કરે અહીંયા તો ક્યાંક કોઈ રડવાનું શરૂ કરે છે, અને ત્યાં કોઈ બંધ કરે તો અહીંયા કોઈ રડવાનું શરૂ કરે છે. એટલે એ નિરંતર ચાલતી પ્રક્રિયા છે. So this is what it says, that the tears of the world are a constant quantity. For each one who begin to weep, somewhere else another stops. See, this is a very deep, very wide way of looking at the world, the human predicament, and the thing that the tears are always constant. It also means that some people will always be unhappy, crying because of situations of the world or wherever they are. It never ends as such there. Ceaseless activity of time is self-defeating, purposeless, and therefore null and void. This purposelessness is all about this time and how we pass those things. And this quote, okay, Pozzo's quote, who will tell me what is that?
Sir, I found this sentence also much more relevant. Like the more things change, the more they are the same.
Yes,
So-
that also is very important. Yeah.
Sir, can you throw more light on that, please?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think you're getting my voice. No? Yeah.
Yes, sir. We are getting you.
Yeah, okay. Yes, the more things change, the more they are the same. So, well, see, there is one idea that change is permanent and everything keeps on changing. Yes, everything keeps on changing. That is the idea. But at the same time, this also is the truth of the human existence, that the more we change, the more we remain almost similar without any change. The more we change, the more we remain similar. This side. So when we see from farther and means a very far-sighted one, then all the changes seems to be similar. They keeps on repeating. It seems like it is going on and on, almost in a similar way. If I see every day minutely from near microscopically or under telescope, if I see every day, I think that every day things are changing every day. But if I go farther in time, if I go farther in time, if I time travel and go, then all those days and nights are not at all visible also. If I travel in universe and I go beyond something, then those changes of days and nights or even seasons or annual changes also are almost invisible. They are not at all visible in that. That is how. So when you go farther, you find things as it is only. If you pick up a photograph of a universe which was taken 20 years back, and if you pick up a photograph that is taken today, you find almost no change. Almost things seems to be similar, no change. Whereas in 20 years, so many things have changed. We were children, we have become grown up in 20 years. So how lot many things have changed here, but if you go further, things remain similar. So when we look historically at time, when you look at time, it seems that it is one and the same. The more the time has changed, the more it has remained similar. It seems like people have changed. Earlier there were different kind of people, now there are different kind of people. But what is happening to them, their tears, they are still of constant quantity. They are still not changing. It is similar way that it keeps on repeating. That is this idea of looking at this idea. If you travel farther, or we see a wider way of looking at the thing, then we do not perceive all those changes. And then everything is almost similar. Nothing has perhaps changed as such in that context of time also. So that is, we can say time keeps on repeating itself. Time keeps on coming back to the same kinds of thing again and again. That is this idea of looking at this point. When writers, this is more of a philosophical concept of change and similarity, looking into time. Near the time, more things change. Farther in time, things seem similar. Philosophical idea. In literature, people make use of mythical technique to explain the very idea, mythical technique. So when we study myth, we come to know that, well, thousands years ago, there were these kinds of things. And we find that, well, these things are even today. It means that even if the time has changed, people have changed, there is still similar kind of things happening. It has not changed at all. That's how T.S. Eliot makes use of myth to juxtapose the contemporaneity and the past. Both the things are juxtaposed together to see that the similarity of the things are there. So what is change and what is similar? Philosophically and literally. In literature, mythical technique is very important technique to give concrete form to this abstraction of idea about time. The other thing you also might have come across that what we see is also like a reflection of light, and light travels in time. The time, and it requires some time to travel. So when we see the things, it is not there. Prakash koi object ઉપર પડે અને પછી મારી આંખ ઉપર પહોંચે તેમાં માઇક્રો સેકન્ડ ની વાર લાગે. એટલે જ્યારે હું જોઉં છું ત્યારે એ નથી ત્યાં. મને એવો ભાસ થાય કે હજી છે, પણ ખરેખર એ નથી. હવે એ પૂરું થઈ ગયું છે. I am seeing it after few seconds always. પણ એ આપણે perceive નથી કરી શકતા. We can't perceive this kind of change. We think કે હું નરી આંખે જોઉં છું એટલે આ બની રહ્યું છે એ જ હું જોઉં છું, પણ એ ખરેખર એવું હોતું નથી. અહીંયા થ્રુ ટેકનોલોજી કે લાઈવ ટેલિકાસ્ટમાં તો આપણને ખ્યાલ છે કે 2-3 સેકન્ડ મોડું થાય when we do live streaming ત્યારે આપણને ખ્યાલ હોય કે 30-40 સેકન્ડની વાર લાગે છે, but that is also the truth of our naked eyes and everything also there. તો આજે પ્રકાશ પડે કોઈ ઓબ્જેક્ટ ઉપર ને પછી એ દેખાય એટલે પ્રકાશ જ દેખાય છે આપણને, અને જેટલો પ્રકાશ દૂર જાય એટલું દૂર એ વસ્તુ દેખાઈ શકે. પછી જ્યાં એ પ્રકાશ પૂરો થાય, જીર્ણ પડે, નબળો પડે, ત્યાં એ દેખાતું બંધ થાય. આંખમાં એ પ્રકાશ નથી પહોંચતો એટલે દેખાતું, એટલે દૂરની વસ્તુ એટલે આપણને દેખાતી નથી. પણ એ પ્રકાશ જ્યાં સુધી પહોંચી શકે ત્યાં પ્રકાશ સતત ટ્રાવેલ કરે. પ્રકાશની જેમ અવાજ પણ ટ્રાવેલ કરે. વોઇસ ઓલ્સો કીપ્સ ઓન ટ્રાવેલિંગ. ધીસ લાઇટ, ધીસ વોઇસ, so each and everything that is spoken, it remains, it never dies. એ દૂર દૂર જતો જ જાય. અવાજ ક્યારેય મરતો નથી, એ સતત યુનિવર્સમાં ક્યાંક ખોવાઈ જાય, યુનિવર્સમાં ચાલ્યો જાય. સો પીપલ ડુ એન એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ કાઇન્ડ ઓફ થિંગ કે આપણે સમયમાં એટલા બધા આગળ ચાલ્યા જઈએ યુનિવર્સમાં કે 5000 વર્ષ પહેલા કૃષ્ણ જ્યારે ભગવદ્ ગીતા બોલતા હતા એ અવાજ જ્યાં પહોંચ્યો હોય એની આગળ જઈને આપણે રેકોર્ડ કરી લઈએ, તો એ અવાજને આપણે રેકોર્ડ કરીએ કે we can let us travel faster than voice into universe and go beyond 5000 years, કે ત્યાં અવાજ હજી જતો હશે ત્યાં આપણે એને પકડી લઈએ, and we let us record the voice of Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita. Well, it seems to be scientific superstition, scientific superstition જેવું એ લાગે કે આવું થાય કે we can't travel that fast, or whether this is truth or not, that also we don't know there. But in universe, how things keep on remaining in one or the another form, that idea of time, it is now, it is from this that the idea of time travel, time machine is coming, that if we can travel in time, then what? જો હું સમયમાં પાછળ ચાલ્યો જાઉં, આગળ ચાલ્યો જાઉં, તો હું આગળનું પાછળનું જોઈ શકું. From this idea, this point is coming about time travel and time machines and all the scientific fictions that we have about this concept of time, how it keeps on traveling in different form. Okay. Yes.
May I say something about Poso?
Yes, yeah.
Actually, indirectly, he is suggesting about birth and death cycle, and also that one should live life at fullest. In that way, one day we are going to die, and when one is dying, there is birth of someone else. The last line says so.
Yes, last line is also now when the first is important, last also is important. Yeah. Both are very important. Way apart, but it's in a one dialogue, lot many things are infused together here. So the first one, when is questioned that when, what, when Vladimir is asking the question, he says, have you not done tormenting me with your accursed time? You're asking when and what is time, and when were you here, and when this and this. So he says, I am tormented by these questions of when and what and how, all this about time and other things. But this is the cry of all human beings. All human beings, that is that cry that we are tormented by time in different ways. One day, is that not enough for you? One day like any other day. He went dumb, and one day I went blind. One day we will go deaf, and one day we were born. One day we will die, the same day, the same second. So there's one day. But you say, what is this one day? One day એટલે ક્યારે? તો કે ભાઈ તને એ one day થી સંતોષ થતો નથી. આવશે એ દિવસ, ત્યારે થઈ જશે. Why do you want exactly when? As a Pozo also is tormented, says, I don't want to answer when. One day it will happen. Now, remove this context and try to see as if a bhakta is meeting the God and is asking કે ભાઈ તમે તો કહેલું હતું કે તમે આવશો ક્યારે, કે હવે ક્યારે આવશો, એ તમારો એ દિવસ ક્યારે આવશે, ક્યારે પાછો અવતાર થાય. God ગુસ્સામાં કે ભાઈ one day, I told one day I will come. So but then why are you not happy with that one day? Why do you want exact date? Why are you tormenting with your time? My time is different. My time do not go like your time. Why do you torment me with your idea of time? That one day is that not enough. One day at you, one day at you, one day upon thase. Someday it will happen. Why are you not happy with someday or one day? But we know we can't be happy with someday or one day. These are abstractions of time. And when we think of those things, we are more tormented. We feel an anxiety of that uncertainty of time. This uncertainty of time gives us a kind of an anxiety. This unreliability, uncertainty.
Suggesting hopefulness.
Yes.
for tomorrow,
Yes.
suggesting hopefulness for tomorrow.
It tries to this. Yeah, you can say this. The hope of the tomorrow. This. But when we have seen lot many tomorrows, we have seen in time lot many tomorrows, then we are tired of this idea of tomorrow. Then we see that tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is something that never comes, and in reality also tomorrow never comes, because when it comes, it is today. Whenever we face tomorrow, it is never tomorrow, it is today. So on that day again there is a wait for tomorrow. So wait for tomorrow is a kind of a wait which never ends. It never ends. So because when the tomorrow comes, it is actually not tomorrow, it is today. And still there is a tomorrow standing there. So there was this James Bond film, Tomorrow Never Comes. Tomorrow never dies or tomorrow never comes. But this idea, this tomorrow, and tomorrow is also a kind of a pipe dream. Pipe dream in Eugene O'Neill's play, Iceman Cometh. Yeah? Iceman Cometh. In Iceman Cometh by Eugene O'Neill. In Eugene O'Neill's play, Iceman Cometh, tomorrow is like a pipe dream. So people are waiting that tomorrow I will do this, tomorrow I will do that. So it's a very interesting story where one person comes and tells that tomorrow is today, do it today. But then when people are told that, well, I have to do it today, they are not able to do it. They want their tomorrow. Tomorrow is a hope, but it is an illusory hope. It is an illusory hope. Now, this was in a narrow context. Existential question for the tomorrow and the hope is much wider. So you are seeing the world not only as our own life, but we are connected with humanity. The first non-person who has lived, whether it is Manu or Adam, be it Manu or Adam, whoever it is, the first person, from then to today, we are waiting eagerly for so many years for something to happen, for the hope to come, for reaching to the home, or all these kinds of things. But that is not coming. That is not happening. That is that idea. So, and in real sense, when we see the words, tomorrow is something that is full of uncertainty, unreliability. It never comes. When it comes, it has turned into today, and there is always another tomorrow standing there waiting for us, and we are waiting for that tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes there. So that's why he says, why not this one day, someday? Why this idea? But we can't live with the idea of one day or someday. Imagine that you are not given the exam dates. Exam dates are not given. The university says, someday we will take your exam. One day we will take your exam. Then what will be your condition? What kind of anxiety you will feel? That when you think that, well, university is not giving the date and keeps on telling, someday we will take. Why do you torment with your which date, when, how, what? Why do you torment? Someday we will do. Then, well, we will say, no, this is not the way that university should work. Why we say that this is the way that God works? Why we don't question that? Why that system works in that way? When we don't accept the same kind of system with the real institutions, like academic institutions or another thing. It is not like one day, someday, jare ichha thai tyare hu avis, hu laish pariksha. Na, you know, you have to give me the date, this date. Why don't you give me the date? Why don't you tell me that when, how, in what form? We don't know even the form also. We don't know even the form. That in what form કે પરીક્ષા પર કે લેવાશે તમને પેપર જોશો ત્યારે ખબર પડશે કેવી સ્ટાઇલ હશે, કેવા જામા પહેરીને પરીક્ષા આવશે એ અગાઉથી નહીં કહેવામાં આવે. એ જ્યારે આવે ત્યારે તો આપણે we feel anxiety, lots of anxiety, unrest. We keep on calling people કે તમે કઈ રીતે મનમાં તૈયારી કરો છો પરીક્ષા માટેની, તમે શું કરો છો, આ પૂછાશે કે આમ પૂછાશે, તેમ પૂછાશે તો શું થશે, આપણે કેવી વાતો કરીએ કે કેમ હશે બધું. એકદમ અજંપા ભર્યું જીવન આપણું થઈ જાય. અજંપામાં રહીએ જ્યાં સુધી એ પ્રશ્નપત્ર સામે ન આવે ત્યાં સુધી. તો એ જ કે આ ક્યા કપડા પહેરીને આવશે? when the God will come, એમણે ક્યા કપડા પહેર્યા હશે? પેલું ઓ માય ગોડ માં તો સુટેડ બુટેડ થઈને આવે, અને પેલું કે મારો કાનુડો તો આવો છે, અર્ધનગ્ન છે, અને આ કેમ આટલા બધા સૂટ બૂટ પહેરીને આવ્યા છે? તો the film has its own answer, but then we don't know. આપણને ક્યાં ખબર છે કે આ પ્રશ્નપત્ર ક્યાં કપડા પહેરીને આવશે, અને આવશે તો કેમ ઓળખશું આપણે કે આ પરીક્ષા છે? એ પણ કેમ ખબર પડે? So very curious when you imagine, when you replace with something that is our Godot. When our Godot, for example, as a student, our Godot is our exam. એક્ઝામ અને એમાં જે વસ્તુ થાય તે, and then we wait, and then there is a result for which also we keep on waiting, અને એમાં પણ એમ કે ભાઈ someday result will be given, one day result will be given, એ આવી જશે, થઈ જશે. કઈ રીતે થશે, કેમ થશે, ક્યાં થશે, કેવી માર્કશીટ હશે, કશું જ ના, એ ચિંતા ન કરો, એ આવી જશે, થઈ જશે. પછી તમે ક્યાંક પૂછવા જાવ તો કે ના એ તો થઈ ગયું, તમને મોકલી આપી હતી માર્કશીટ, તો કે ક્યાં મોકલી હતી, તો કે આમ મોકલી હતી. બહુ પૂછો નહીં, don't ask with your tormenting questions. So that is very interesting idea, that why we need certainty, why we need a kind of certainty. We are like habituated for certainties, we do things with certainties, but at the same time Beckett perhaps is asking that there is the entire system of theology which is full of uncertainties, and we have a kind of a certainty into that uncertainty, whereas we do not have the same kind of way of looking at many other things. We get terribly tired. તો જે રીતે એ વિદ્યાર્થી પરીક્ષા કે રિઝલ્ટને લઈને જે પ્રકારનો અજંપો મહેસૂસ કરે, એ જ પ્રકારનો અજંપો બેકેટ, એક્ઝિસ્ટેન્શિયલ ફિલોસોફર્સ દુનિયા જોઈને કરે છે. એને દુનિયા જોઈને એ થાય છે કે ક્યાં છે એ કયામતનો દિવસ, કોણ છે એ ચિત્રગુપ્ત, કેવો દેખાય છે, ક્યાં છે એ ગોડ, ક્યાં છે એ સ્વર્ગ, શું કરવાનું છે ત્યાં જવા માટે, વોટ ઇઝ ધ વે, વોટ આર આ સાચું પેલું સાચું, બધા કેટલું જુદું કરે છે. કોઈ બે હાથ જોડે તો કોઈ આ રીતે હાથ કરે છે, તો કોઈ કેન્ડલ સળગાવે છે, કોઈ દિયા જલાવે છે, કોઈ શરાબ ચડાવે છે, તો કોઈ કે આ તો ચડાવવાનું જ નહીં, આમાં ક્યાં જવું. when in that way people look, they get frustrated. એ જ ફ્રસ્ટ્રેશન જે એક વિદ્યાર્થીને પરીક્ષાને ધ્યાનમાં રાખીને આવે, એ જ એન્ઝાઇટી આ ફિલોસોફર્સ બેકેટને દુનિયામાં થતી વસ્તુઓ, અને in a larger scale, the time frame is very large, then they feel the same kinds of things also. So then this last sentence, they give birth astride of a grave, the light gleams an instant, then it's night once more. This is what breath is. So it is like as if આપણો જન્મ થવો, અને from womb to tomb, our journey of our life. What is this journey? It is from womb to tomb. Yeah. This is how it is going. એટલે બસ એટલું જ કે તમને કોઈ ગર્ભાશયમાંથી ફોર્સેપ્સ જે મેડિકલ ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ આવે એનાથી પકડીને કાઢે છે, અને બસ તેડી અને સુવડાવી દે છે કબરમાં સુવડાવે, અને વચ્ચે જેટલો સમય છે એ જ આપણું જીવન છે. See how this 100 years of life has been seen in a milliseconds. In a milliseconds માં એમણે આખા 100 વર્ષનું જીવન જોઈને, નોર્મલ આયુષ્ય આપણે ગણીએ 70 years, તો બસ અહીંથી અહીંયા જવું એ 70 વર્ષ છે. એ 2 કે 4 સેકન્ડ કે 30 સેકન્ડમાં પૂરું થઈ જતું છે. એટલે એક જ શ્વાસ છે, એક જ શ્વાસ લેવાય છે ને એક શ્વાસ છૂટે છે. પહેલો શ્વાસ એ જે આપણો જન્મ થયો, that was the first breath, and the last is when we are going into tomb. There are only two. એક વખત અંદર શ્વાસ લીધો, એક વખત બહાર કાઢ્યો, and then નાટક પૂરું થાય છે, જીવન પૂરું થાય છે. આખું જીવન એક શ્વાસમાં એ પૂરું થાય, ને વચ્ચે જે કાંઈ પણ છે એ બધું રબિશનેસ. In between, whatever life we live between this journey is all nothing but various kinds of rubbishes. કોઈના માટે વેજીટેબલ હોય, કોઈના માટે મેડિકલ વેસ્ટ હોય, કોઈના માટે સિગરેટ બટ્સમાં સ્વસ્તિકનું સિમ્બોલ હોય, એ સ્વસ્તિક કોઈ માટે સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલિટી હોય, તો કોઈ માટે નરિયો હાહાકાર હોય, હિટલરનો હાહાકાર હોય, whatever opposite things. People can read into all these things. And that's why it was very interesting to see your videos also. કે તો કોઈ માટે એ જ્વેલરી હોય, કોઈ માટે એ સોલા શૃંગાર પણ એ હોય, કે કોઈ માટે પુસ્તકો પણ હોય, કોઈ માટે રમકડા હોય. So that was very interesting કે આ બે જર્ની વચ્ચે આ બધું શું છે. તો કેવું જુદું જુદું આપણે કલ્પના કરીએ. Lots many different imaginations we do in this, અને એ બધી જ વસ્તુ ફક્ત for a few seconds of time. Now this is what is that કે તમે સમયમાં બહુ દૂર ચાલ્યા ગયા છો, એટલે આ સમય 70 years is just 7 seconds for you now. It is in that way you look from a farther inside there. But this idea of time is very important, waiting and time. And you know that in universe સમય બહુ જુદી જુદી રીતે ચાલતો હોય છે, તો scientifically proven છે. There are many films also, sci-fi films, કે ત્યાં I forgot the name of this, આપણે last year પણ રેફરન્સ લીધેલો કે એક વૈજ્ઞાનિક હોય, Interstellar. Yes, Interstellar. Yes. So when you go into another galaxies at that time, when the person comes back, ત્યારે એમની દીકરી ડોસી થઈ ગઈ હોય છે. એ હજી એટલો ને એટલો જ મિડલ એજમાં હોય છે. એના ઉપર સમયની અસર નથી. This is very important point કે એની અંદર સમય ધીમે ધીમે પસાર થયો તો એ વૃદ્ધ થતો નથી. સમય ધીરે પસાર થયો તો એ વૃદ્ધ થતો નથી એ વ્યક્તિ. જ્યારે પૃથ્વી ઉપર સમય બહુ ઝડપથી પસાર થયો તો એમની દીકરી વૃદ્ધ થઈ ગઈ છે. એના કરતા વધુ મોટી ઉંમરની એ દેખાય છે. જ્યારે પેલો ક્યાં બીજી ગેલેક્સીમાં થોડા વર્ષો રહીને આવે છે તો એમણે એ જ રીતે સમયને મહેસૂસ નથી કર્યું. The experience of time was different and so you look younger. So you look younger, experience of time and youthfulness and old age. And that is why we say that time eats us. એ આપણે youthfulness ખાઈ જાય છે અને પછી આપણને વૃદ્ધત્વ તરફ ધીરે ધીરે લઈ જાય. આપણા સેલ્સ નવા બનતા બંધ થઈ જાય છે when we pass through that time. And then we આપણે get કરચલી થઈ જાય, દાંત પડી જાય છે, body stops working because it is eaten away by time. It is eaten away by time, philosophically looking at this. So interstellar we see. So we know the time એ રીતે વજન પણ જુદું જુદું છે. દરેક પ્લેનેટ ઉપર આપણું વજન સરખું ન હોય. અહીંયા જુદું ચાંદ ઉપર it's all so weight and everything is relative. That is why theory of relativity is very સાપેક્ષવાદ is very important કે તમે ક્યાં છો એના આધારે તમારો વજન છે, ક્યાં છો એના આધારે તમારે સમય પસાર થાય છે. બધું જ મહેસૂસ એક રિલેટિવિટીના આધારે જ થાય છે. Relativity plays a very important role in all these things. So in this vision કે grave diggers એ કદાચ grave digger જ છે જે આપણને જન્મ આપે છે. એ આપણા માટે ડોક્ટરો છે કે જે આપણે વોમ્બ ચીરી સિઝેરિયન ઓપરેશન હોય તો પછી એમાંથી બાળક બહાર કાઢે અને પછી એ પેલા. પણ આ વિઝનમાં તો એ બધા જ grave diggers છે. Grave diggers picks up body from here and puts in this. This is how it tries to look at this. Yeah. Okay, any question here in this point? Okay, this is how waiting and time is connected, and that's how it tries to look at the very idea in a much larger or wider frame. It tries to look at these things there. So like, okay, fine, we will see the other example there. But any other things here up till this point if you have? Okay, is it clear to everybody? These things are for waiting and time. Yes, before we have to come with another point of, we have to come to another point of hope and the other thing here and this.